Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. Cameron Slade, North Carolina A&T, with the lead IT project, and we're making great progress. If you've gotten this far, you should be pretty comfortable with some of the Python basics. This is going to be a relatively short video, only 6 slides, and we're going to cover date time, the date time function. So date time is what's called a module in Python. Essentially, it's a class of objects and methods to output date based on your system date. I found Python's date time function to be easier and more straightforward than a lot of programming languages. Some of them can be a little tricky to work with because of the way a computer keeps up with the date. And we won't go into that now. That's for down the road. But computers actually have a start date. Time actually begins at a finite point, and they count backwards, or at least forward from there. And so when you output the raw date, it's a number that really doesn't make any sense to you. And you have to go back and format that number into making it output whatever level of precision, whether it's the year or the day or the month or the hour or the second or the minute that you want. But Python is really an improvement on that. First one, so we have here the date time format, and I'm gonna just cut all these out because yours doesn't have these printings here. And so what we have here is what they tell us to do. Click run to continue. And this is just to make sure that we have the date time function. So date time, when this variable that I've declared now, when I run this code, that's going to create a date variable, right, with a date value in it. And that date value is now, and it consists of all the information about whatever the current date is as per this system. Let's run that. And we don't have any output, so all we're doing is just trying to run this without an error. So let's go to the next one. And so let's just print now, okay? And so what this instruction tells us to do is print whatever the value of now is. And because it's a date value variable, it's going to put out this. So it's got the date and the hour, the minute. Now you notice it says 3 a.m. and that's probably Greenwich Mean Time. You got to set it for whatever your local time is, based on your time zone. But for us, we're just going to take it as is now. So that is, as far as this system is concerned, that is the current hour, because we're reading the date based on Greenwich Mean Time. Okay. But the minutes and the seconds are accurate. And if we ran it again, you see the seconds will increment, right? Each time I run it, the seconds increment. Okay, so that's that one. Let's go on. Now I've got these other things here. So I've got now, and I've got a variable called now, which has the date, and I'm going to put these formatting Go back. So yeah, so I don't want to do that. I did that last time. So this is for this one. So I have these values in, and so what's the print? Now year, now month, now day. Okay. So it's going to extract whatever the year, date, and month are, and they're going to print it. (2017) 12th month, 19th day. So that is correct. That is correct. Oh, well, actually, it's so whatever time zone it is, it's tomorrow, wherever that time zone is. If I had adjusted this for my local time zone, that would be the 18th because it's currently the 18th of December. That's okay. We won't mess with that now. I'll show you how to control for that down the road. So that's that one. And we have these operators in the datetime.now function of year, month, and day. So that outputs those. Now we're going to put. Let me see. I'm looking at this because I don't want to race ahead because this is I'd already done this, so this is code that I already had. So let's see what it's asking us to do. Print the current date in the form month, day, and year. Okay. So yours has dashes between it, I think, where these are. Yours has something like this. I've already changed mine, but I'm going to show you what yours looks like. And we're going to output yours, and then we're going to modify it. So it only wants us to do the now, date, month, and year. So I'm going to cut this because I need to make sure. Let me store this somewhere because I like I said, programmers are lazy, and I don't want to type any more than I have to. So I'm going to cut this. And put it somewhere. Won't show up on your screen, I don't think, because I'm only looking at the web browser. But I need that syntax for later. Now, let me do what it says here. It wants me to modify these. Well, we can output this and show you what, well, I've got an error, so let's don't even worry about that right now. But let's change these to slashes. As this really is pretty straightforward. Make sure I put them in the right place. And we can get rid of these. We don't need them for right now. And so what I want is, what do I want? I want the month, the day, and the year. So month, day, now year. And we don't need these. We'll need these in a moment. Is that what I want? I think so. And remember that this operator here, right here, the percent sign that's before the parentheses, says that whatever the arguments are for this, we're going to if the values are separated by a comma, we're going to output all of them. So now year, so it wants month, day, and year. Okay. Now month, comma, now day, comma, now year. And I don't know why that's not red here. Let's run it and see. It looks like we're going to get an error. Month, day. Oh, okay. I have a dot there and not a comma. My computer, I can't really distinguish between a comma and a. There we go. That's better. Now we shouldn't get an error now. So 12th month, 19th day again. The day is off because it's ahead of us. It's and I think we're in the Greenwich time -4. So Greenwich Mean Time is a day ahead of us, because I think we're 4 hours behind whatever Greenwich time is. Eastern time is Greenwich -4, and you can put an operator in there to compensate for that. But we won't do that for right now. So we've done this one. Now it's going to have us do the seconds, and I'm going to bring my other code here for that. Now we're going to work on hour, minute, and second, and it wants us to put it in the format hour, minute, second. Okay, and it also wants us to have semicolons to separate the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. So I'm going to grab that other code because, like I said, programmers are lazy. And I already got it typed over here, so no point in reinventing the wheel. And when you get your jobs, you will, and if any of you become developers, hope some of you become developers. It's a great job. You will be using, programmers do very few things absolutely from scratch. And one of the most embarrassing episodes I had as a programmer, they gave me a task to write a poll for some customers that we had. I was a web developer in this location, and I started writing it from scratch, because I knew how to do JavaScript and I knew how to do it. They said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm writing a poll." He said, "Just grab some code from the internet and modify it." And I was kind of embarrassed that didn't occur to me. But, the mantra is don't reinvent the wheel. Your job, more than anything else, is to understand what's going on and apply your knowledge to solve new problems, not to solve problems that people have already solved, right? If somebody's already solved the problem, use their solution. Use their solution. That's perfectly acceptable. This is not a test for a class. People are paying you money to do things in the quickest way possible. So don't do anything from scratch if you don't have to. Sometimes you have to, but don't do anything from scratch. So we want to get rid of some of this stuff, and we want to get rid of I think we want to get rid of all of this. So I have hour, minute, second, and delimited by this. Hopefully, I haven't overlooked anything. Okay, so the hour is 4 because it just turned the 4th hour. The minute is 4, and the second is 1. Let's run it again. Make sure our second is keeping up. 14 seconds. Now next one is 17 seconds. So we know it's working. Last panel. So now they call this the grand finale, and we're going to output all of this stuff. So we're going to do the month, the day, and the year, hours, minutes, seconds. And it seems like a lot, but we've already got the code written. That's why I kept this, right? So I just copy this. And I don't know if you can see me copying or not, but because I think that's off screen. But and I think this is right. So we have the delimiters here, and they want it this way. And they say, okay, so we want the month, day, the year. We'll have to go in and modify that. But they want slashes there, and there's a space, and then you've got another group of 3 for the hour, minute, second. So now let's we want now. And I could have cut and paste, but I think it's just quicker for me to, as quick for me to write it out. Month, now day, now year, and we don't need month again, don't need day again, but we want the hour, the minute, and the second. Cross your fingers. That's it. Month, day, year, hour, minute, second. And that's it. End of lesson. We're moving right along, and we're on to lesson 6 already. You guys have learned a good bit of Python, a good bit about programming, and a good bit about Python. The date functions work. They do the same thing in every language, but they kind of vary from language to language. So Python will at least give you, so if you come to a language like C, C does it a little bit different. You'll be able to, you'll be able to manage the differences. And a lot of IT is, you know what this thing is supposed to do. It's a thing, right? It could be a relational database. It could be a networking tool. It could be anything, object-oriented language. And if you know that what kind of a thing it is, you know what the general behaviors of that thing are supposed to be. So for example, although SQL Server and MySQL are 2 different relational database managers, both of them are relational database managers, so they do relational database stuff. And then we'll get into that, more of that later. On to the next lesson.